You just mentioned those first few moments of your day,
You got it.
alluding to some sort of morning routine. What does that look like for Justin
Sure.
Scott?
You got it, man. So every single day, uh, I'll go ahead and actually take some of the pressure off my own self and maybe some viewers. If I go through my week and 5 days out of 7, I did 80% of my morning routine, won that week, 100% won that week.
100%.
And of course, I always I'm aiming, don't get it twisted. I'm aiming for 100% 7 days every week, but I recognize my own humanity, my own proclivity to want to be, lazy. I'm a big cat by nature. So I would love to just spend all my time out by this pool and laying in the sun and doing absolutely nothing. But I know that ultimately isn't conducive to do that every single day, all day. Right. So want to make a note of that. My morning practices, I call them rituals because I think it's important to understand the difference between a habit and a ritual. And that's something that we can get into if you want to talk about that a little bit more after this fact. But I do stretching of my body or some kind of movement in my body for about 15 to 20 minutes. I do breath work, and I'll cycle between the types of breath work that I do, but nothing invigorates my energy and keeps it up throughout the entire day than my breath work does. I personally, I wouldn't necessarily consider this a ritual, but just I'm not like a big breakfast person and never have been. So in the morning, I'll usually do like some kind of light protein. I'll either have some raw eggs or a protein shake and like a piece of fruit, and that's prime. That's all I need for the first part of the day. But anyway, so stretching, breath work, I always dedicate an allotted amount of time to learning. So I will actively study, meaning that I take notes on at least 5 pages of a book, nonfiction that I feel can benefit me, give me ideas for content, give me new insights, connect information that's currently not connected in my mind, things like that. Or anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes of like a podcast or a YouTube video or something along those lines. So stretching, breathing, taking time to actively study and learn. I take my supplementation. I'm not going to go ahead and, give too many recommendations, but, the standards like fish oil and vitamin D, and on top of a couple other things that I take every single day to help kind of just maintain my energy levels and my mood. Spanish lesson, which I'm still very not great at Spanish, but I am continuously getting just gradually a little bit better, but I make a point to incorporate that. Let me just double check real quick to make sure that I'm not missing anything. I have all of this outlined on my own personal, just I guess you could say life organization system, because I like to maintain my mental energy for the tasks that I need to do on a given day. So meditation, stretch, breath work, my scrum and intentions. So I follow, are you familiar with scrum at all in sprint method? So this is, I don't want to go too in depth on this, because I could talk about this probably for like 40 minutes. And so, but basically it's a daily check-in with yourself when it comes to your productive work. What your intention is for the day in regards to what you want to accomplish and how you did the day before. And you fill this in every day. And this is beneficial because it allows you to recognize patterns in your own behavior when it comes to your snags, like what you consistently do that keeps you in a state of low performance, and also your strengths, what you're consistently doing that's keeping you in a state of high performance. So again, it goes back to this conscious living, right? Being very acutely aware of the action that we take and the way we think and the way we engage, right? And then my intentions that I do every day, which I'll share these with you 100% all the way. So I always set I am grateful for what, and then for the day, I will set, I'm grateful for X, or Y or Z or whatever. A lot of the times it's the same thing, but I think it's important to acknowledge something to be grateful for before you really begin your day. What would make today great? An intention that I set for how I want to win the day. And as long as I experience this or give this to myself, usually I make it something in my control, sometimes not, I've won the day. The day was great, right? Sometimes it's as simple as going to the gym and getting a good workout, getting 2 hours of really conscious, deep focus work on this project that I'm currently working on. And then what am I embodying today? I'll reference how I woke up feeling like if I'm feeling on top and high energy, I'm embodying something like vibrance or prosperity or just abundance, right? But if I woke up and I'm like, man, today's not it, I'll be like resiliency or embodying calm or fluidity, flexibility, something that allows me to move through waking up on that wrong side of the bed a little bit more easily. And then at the end of the day, I'll follow up with what was special about today. So I had what I thought would make today great, but then I want to reference the actual day and acknowledge what I felt was special within that day. And then how could I have made today better? Because every single day, shouldn't say every day. There are some days where I'm like, man, I killed it. There's nothing I could have done to make today better. It was great. But, almost every day, there's always a little something that I feel like I could have done to improve or make it better. So just to make sure I ran through them all. Meditation. Oh, and a meditation practice in the morning. Usually this is more the traditional style. I'll sit or I will lay. Sometimes I will combine my breathwork practice with my meditative practice. So I'll perform the breathwork and then I'll allow myself to remain in position and go with like 10 or 15 minutes of meditation. So meditation, stretching plus breathing, my scrum and intentions, my active studying, Spanish lesson, and then I'll take my supplements. And then that's the whole day. It sounds like, or the whole framework for setting the day. It sounds like a lot, about an hour, give or take, to get through all of it.
And if you do that 5 out of 7 days, you're winning 5 out of 7 days before the day has even started.
You got it,
so
man. That's exactly it.
What an incredible way to approach life. What about for the end of the day? Do you have any specific wind down routines you can share with us?
You know it, bro. I have my morning activation and my solar activation and my lunar activation. And for the evening, it's much more low key because, you're winding down. So I'll follow up with my intentions, right? Those last two. What was special about today? What could I have done to make today better? I'll review my lever moving tasks for the day, see where I got with those, see if I'm, biting off more than I can chew, see if I can take on more, just kind of coordinating with myself, how things are performing within that day and how that relates to the week, right? I'll do another session of stretching and breathing. Usually instead of 10 or 15 minutes, I'll sometimes only spend like 5 minutes here, right? Just consciously moving in my body, consciously bringing my attention to my breath to bring myself kind of down to move into a sleep state. And then I have some nighttime supplementation that I do as well. And that's it for the evening. Everything else is just kind of extra from there. I will engage, especially recently, because I will be fully transparent and say that sleep has always been a difficult thing for me. I'm like always have trended more towards wanting to stay up till 3 or 4 a.m. Getting off my phone sometimes can be a really difficult thing for me because I'm always in conversations. I'm thinking about content ideas. I'm reading or researching, or sometimes I'm mindless scrolling. Like I'm not going to play, but more lately, audiobooks have been really beneficial for me in not only getting away from some of those detrimental habits, but also enhances my ability, I think, to visualize, because I have to actually imagine what's going on within the world. Always fiction, the audiobooks that I listen to at night. So that is my morning rituals and my evening rituals that I perform every single day. Or at least, like I said, aim for 5 to 7 times out of the week.
How do you get back to the practice after you've fallen off for a couple of days?
Yeah, I'm actually glad that you asked this question, because this is something that has come up a little bit more frequently than I would have anticipated for not only other people in my sphere, people that I'm just friends with and that I network with, but clients that I'm working with too, is I believe people have cycles when it comes to kind of on and off performance, right? So for me personally, I find that every 4th or 5th week, if I've gone really in for like 3 weeks and everything's just been really on, will oftentimes be very clunky if I'm trying to continue the pattern, right? So let's say 3 weeks out of the month, I am highly productive, winning in my business, feeling up and elevated every single day. And of course, this isn't always the case, and I'm not going to set the standard that this is always how it goes. But a lot of the time on that fourth week, I'm just not there in the same capacity. And so I've been wondering, again, you presenting this question, how do you deal with that? And first and foremost, and more so, I'm speaking to the rationally minded problem solving entrepreneurs that are listening to your podcast primarily. I think it is important to define what it means to be a high performer and what actions are considered high performance action. Because here's a hint, it isn't all business related. It isn't all money making related. It isn't all product service related, right? So here's how I approach it. And I can get into the specific like days, because obviously even in those 3 week periods where I'm on, there will still be a couple days out of the week maybe that will be a little less on, right? But I want to think about it on a macro scale first. So I will be on for 3 weeks when it comes to my productive output and my entrepreneurial output. And then let's say the fourth week is approaching, and I've gotten pretty good at sensing when I'm going to be kind of on a little bit of a dip. I will then change the way I approach that week. I do what I need to do in order to maintain when it comes to my entrepreneurial endeavors, but I'm not looking to optimize as much. I'm not looking to progress as much. What I'm really thinking about is how can I spend more time outside, riding my bike or taking a walk, spending more time with a book, spending more time with my girlfriend or calling my parents or talking with friends, spending more time on the personal side of the equation rather than being fully consumed by the professional side of the equation. And I find that when I do that, I make the low weeks also very high performance weeks, but just in a very different sense and in a different way. But I would argue not only equally important, but in many ways much more important, and in ways that are very highly conducive to when it comes time for me to go back to that high production output kind of style, right? Or those types of weeks. I'm primed to do it, because I have allowed myself to decompress in a way that is very important. And this is really the point that I want to touch on when it comes to this question, is decompression is a high performance skill. 100%. Yes, there are some people that are freaks who can just go 25-8, fingers don't go to the bone, eyes don't bleed. They just got to keep getting it and getting it and getting it and getting it. And if that is you, lean into that all the way. But most of us, we have ceilings and are more subject to burnout. And we need to understand that not only is decompression important because it reserves our energy and replenishes our energy, not our enemies, our energy, but allows time for the information that we've processed, the experiences that we've had, the progress that we've made. It allows it time to integrate into our being and also give potential clarity and insight that we would not have otherwise had if we were constantly in the state of compression and onness, right? Like some of the better ideas I have are in the shower. Why? It's because I'm decompressing. I'm not thinking about work, and I'm not thinking of being productive, and I'm not thinking of optimizing myself and my life. I'm taking a shower. Or when I'm out on my bike or taking a walk, boom, it'll just come. And it's because I'm not giving all of my attention and awareness to that productive state, that state that is conducive to problem solving and creating. I'm just allowing my mind to kind of float on the water, so to speak. And like I said earlier in the cast, when that water is clear, you can more accurately see what's down in the depths that really should come up to the surface, right?